What's up, guys? This is Frenzy. Welcome back to another episode of Viewer Castles. Today we're going to start off with Toclux, castle level 24, same level as my archer. Scorpio right off the bat. Okay, with an archer behind him. It's okay. Personally, I mean, it's good damage, I suppose, but you're kind of pulling someone closer to an archer where you kind of want to keep them away from them. I don't think it's bad. You're also pulling them into fire mines, which I like. It's a pretty good burst amount of damage, to be honest. Although I don't know if it's going to be enough to ever kill anybody. I think that'll get better at, like, patch 17 when they, do their potion nerf. So, I mean, that was a little bit, well, almost easy for me. I guess if someone played it safe and stayed behind the fire, maybe they get hooked by this, and then get hooked by this. The problem is, with how the game is right now, you're going to have a moment where you can make an action before a secondary pull comes, right? Like, so let's say that the one that's coming around the corner pulls me to here. I'm going to have a moment to make an action regardless of how early the next pull is going to be. There's not really a stun anymore. So I can easily roll out of the way of the other one, and then I'm free to kind of just, like, drop a caltrops and volley everything. And everything will die. So, I don't know, it's kind of questionable having this sort of a setup here, unless you have maybe a Cyclops, which is timed out to smash you down as soon as you get pulled, or a bear trap. You need to have something at the end of the pull to stun you again in order to get a secondary pull like that off. That being said, by itself, it's 2 Stairmasters. I'd prefer 3 if you can do it. And that should have enough damage to kill you, if it works out, you know? If that stun would have went off, I probably would have died right there. I don't mind combining a Mega Mutton with a Cyclops. I think I have one in my castle as well. I do prefer ballista traps when I'm using a Mega Mutton and a stun like this, because with a Mega Mutton and a stun, you have a certain amount of time where you have to attack, regardless of a ballista being able to hit you. Like, you're gonna have to stand still and take the damage eventually, right? From a ballista, because when something finishes charging, you have that amount of time before it starts charging again to, drop a headshot or a knight to get behind it and do a couple of attacks, or a smite or something like that. So it's pretty common that they'll take damage from a ballista trap, which does, 3 times or 4 times the damage that a rotating cannon trap does, unless you hit with all of the ticks from a rotating cannon trap. I have been liking ballista traps more and more lately, even though I really didn't like them right after the patch. This one is pretty susceptible to what I just did there with a caltrops plus a volley. I don't really know if there's anything you could do to change that. Generally I don't like skeleton warriors. There's certain situations where I like them okay, but not really right there. I would prefer it to be like maybe a hunger bot. I don't know if I want to say that, but... So this is pretty good, right? I can't really do anything. Although, if you do hug the wall long enough, the silence goes away. I'm not sure if that's intended or if it's a bug. But, if you stand in one spot, the silence goes away, and then, I can drop a volley. Which I know is what you're trying to get away from people doing. And it's not bad if people rush into it and are like, well, I mean, I have to aggro it and then go too far and get pulled or something like that. It's not a bad setup. Alright, so this probably pulls through the wall down here. You have one that pulls down through here, and it looks like one that's over here. So I'm gonna have to back up to not pull multiple groups. And if you're smart, you have a Scorpio coming up. Yep, and there he is. So this is good. Set up well. Sometimes it's hard if you mess up the delay slightly. Alright, and then that pulled that group. So, not set up quite the way I really like it, but it's not bad either. If you choose to only use, like, 2 groups, I think this is perfect. But if you choose to use 3 groups, I think it's, like, a little less efficient. Because you can fit 3 groups into this room, and every one of their pulls be up in the top there. So you use 2 groups, which is fine, I think. And it will cause a double aggro reasonably often, I've noticed, at least at my level. But as more and more people start using it, I think people will start to smarten up a little bit and not double aggro as much. The fire traps are a little weird here. I don't know. They're okay, but they don't really cause that much time wasted without any mobs there, and a lot of people will just be able to dodge them pretty easily because of the circles that were brought around in the patch. I'm going to drop a volley here because they're all kind of trash mobs, is what I'm noticing. You're able to see these, so it's really weak to an archer, I would say. This group. Or, I mean, this whole room, rather. Because I did pull 2 groups, and it's not difficult, you're noticing. A little bit more difficult for a knight because you have the smash, you have, you know, a lot more melee units, I guess. And then you have a couple archers behind, which are adding to DPS. So I would say just watch out for archers at this spot. Maybe you'd want to make a few changes. I don't know exactly what I would change, though. But if this room isn't buying you over a minute worth of time up against almost everybody, that actually hurt. He crit me, so that did good damage. I like the Zeke. I think that's good. But yeah, like I said, if they don't... Actually, I'm not sure that this wasn't skippable as well. So that's something you could look at. A lot of people, you know, go through the wall down here. If you have this as not just your boss room, you can make, like, Snotter here go through the wall down here, and then, like, hook that up towards the front. Or, like, hook this, the group that you have here, hook that into the front, hook this into the south, and then you can hook this guy down through and into a wall and hook him down into the room below it. And all 3 will be aggroable, and none of them will be skippable. It's something you can look into if you're interested in that. Because, I mean, skipping mobs is never good, and you're having 3 groups. 3 groups should almost always buy you at least a minute. Alright, so this could be a little bit scary. The problem is there's nothing guarding the Zeke, so as long as I drop a volley and back up, he should get... Oh no, there is something guarding the Zeke. My bad. This isn't actually all that common of a boss room. I've never seen it before. I don't mind it. Normally I wouldn't really like this, but the Robo Shieldatron guarding the Zeke, after the Zeke is being enraged like that, it's pretty good, I have to say. It's not bad. It's one use of mittens that I don't mind too much. I think that maybe... I mean, if you could get someone to constantly enrage, like... You're spending 10 points on a mittens to get some sort of an attack speed buff on Zeke, right? So let's say I, you know, use 6 points instead, and I use a bad dog next to the Zeke and an Enrager Puppeteer, and the Zeke is leading because he's defended by the Robo Shieldatron, right? Generally, you're either going to get an Enrage or the bad dog's Howl on the Zeke, because if the Zeke is leading, he should get enraged first. So you might be able to save some points if you can set it up correctly to make one of those work, or even only have one of the support units and make it work like that. But, you know, it's not bad. I wouldn't say it's terrible. I just think you might be able to get the attack speed buff with a lower amount of points, because Mittens doesn't do anything but that attack speed buff. He's really useless other than that. So, yeah, with that, we're going to go on to number 2 in just a second. Alright, for number 2 we have Steel Pickaxe, test level 13. So we'll run through it really quick just to make sure he's got everything kind of in line, because there's not all that many options. So there's a lot less that you can do. You just have to have kind of good rooms and solid groups. Alright, so I kind of see what you're trying to do here. There's a problem with this room specifically. I know I used it in one of my previous videos, and I think I said that I was going to switch it out soon during that video. The main problem is this whole group is skippable, first of all, right? And then, even without this group here and you moved it somewhere else, that opens up the fact that you can kind of walk around this area, and then you can get behind it, which messes up this trap. I would try to use a different room, first of all. If you have, like, that T-junction room, that's a pretty good room for pulls, initiating pulls. You know, it's pretty good. There's a couple other ones that are pretty good for initiating pulls, but I don't really like this one specifically. The pull in general, it's like I've said, it's pretty hard to make a pull work like this when you're using level 3 Hunger Bots, because you have to use two Hunger Bots, right? And I know they're awesome and they're cool, but it's almost worth just doing solid groups until you get up to the level 4 Hunger Bots. It doesn't take very long, and then you'll be able to start really having fun with them. That being said, wherever this... Okay, so this pull, whoa, that's cool. Huh. I wonder how you actually did that. I like that. It forced me to pull 2 groups, and I wasn't expecting that at all, to be honest. And for me to see something that I'm like, hey, how do you actually do that? At your stage in the game, that's really good. I'm not exactly sure how you did it. I'm guessing you kind of went around, like you had groups here, and you connected all the way down here. I'm guessing that's how you did it, and then you had a group in between. And that's a pretty neat little thing that you did with this room. Not many people use this room at all. I used it in one of my earlier videos, I'm guessing that's why you have it set up, because now I remember what I did. I did have a springboard trap here, I believe, and I think I had a rotating cannon trap here. This springboard trap, I would say it's not really going to get much use, because your Scorpio's all the way back here. It's possible that someone pulls, aggro's, comes back here, fights it, comes through, and they've killed it quick enough where your Scorpio is kind of in line to pull them over this trap, which is like next level, right? But it's good if that could work, I guess, but I almost prefer it to just be like a damaging trap, and then just have the Scorpio set up so he pulls you through that group. I think that's almost better than this trap. I think you'll hit that with more efficiency, with more like a higher percentage of the time. You'll get pulled through there rather than hit on that springboard trap. I like it though. I like the design of that. I'm wondering how often it works for you too, because I mean I wasn't expecting it, but you know, it's actually kind of a skill to set up a castle that's better against people who are experienced with the game rather than people who just run through. It's almost two different players that you kind of have to set your castle up for. And as you get later levels, you know, right now most people probably don't really know what they're doing. It's a lot of like open beta people and stuff like that that don't really have a good concept of how the game works and how you're supposed to go through a castle, because it's different from a lot of other MMORPGs where you just push through as quick as you can. And that's how I was when I first started as well. But this game is a lot more about taking it slow and getting through, at least under the timer, but make sure that you wait to see what's coming beforehand. I see that down there, I need to be a little careful. Okay, I'm not sure exactly how this was set up, but that being said, it's fine. I think you're really making too much use of these traps, right? You see them in like my videos, and you see other people using them, and it's really cool when it works, but the percent chance that it will actually work in situations like this is really low. You should really be focusing more on your basics, focusing on like through wall pulls. That pull like I set up there with the Scorpio coming around, I really liked that. It was really solid, and it's good. A high percentage of the time you'll hit two groups, and even if you don't, it's still good. I would prefer probably getting rid of this and just having a normal trap, or using like a Scorpio here instead. I mean, that's something that you can do. That's probably the best chance if you want to use this trap, is to throw a Scorpio there. Alternatively, you can throw, I would say the Cyclopses, I think they're on their 2-punch / 3-punch combo. I would change that out with to the over-the-head smash. I think it's much better at your level to do that. Like way better. The charge is okay, but I like the over-the-head smash until you get to level 4. Just as much, if not more. I like the archers. This should have a reasonable chance to kill at your level if they all hit you. And combine that with the you know, this, and I think that you have a pretty decent combo to kill someone. The problem is this isn't probably working for you all that well, and I would say switch it out with a Scorpio is your best bet. If you want to keep that working. Not too bad of a castle though overall. I liked a couple of your things. I think you're making a little bit too much use of springboard traps though. I think you should probably cut back just slightly on them, and it'll make your castle more solid and defend it a little bit more often. Alright, so yeah, we'll jump into, what am I on? Number 3 in just a second. Alright, and for number 3 we have Zeks, castle level 20. And I picked my knight. I'm gonna try to get through this on my knight. I was supposed to pick my archer. He's one level over me. I'm gonna try to get through this on my knight. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm not confident here. Alright, so that was a fake. This is a little bit of a scary room. Alright, so what do we have? Oh, I see. That's cool. You had these guys delayed, I'm guessing. And after I saw the one archer shot, I was like, okay, this is done, right? Like, this room is... I mean, there's something back there, but I was guessing it was something slow or, you know, not a ranged unit. I wasn't expecting that. That's a cool little thing that you did. I think I still dodged, because I'm pretty experienced in the game. Like, I heard the shots and I moved really quickly. But I think a lot of people might take the shots there. I mean, you can still set up something to force them to take the shots a little bit more if it's not working out for you. I still like it. I mean, it's cool, but if you needed to, you could, you know, remove an archer and remove this squiddly and add in a Cyclops as a charge or something. And that would be, you know, just as effective probably at getting the hits that you want, but it's a cool setup, I like it. Being cool might not actually, you know, get you the hits you want though, so you'll have to test it. You'll have to, like, look at it yourself and see if it's working for you, because I've never messed around with something like that. Alright, I probably need to be playing a little bit smarter, because I'm on a level higher than me. So kill off this guy first. Now you'll notice that the skeleton archers aren't doing all that much damage to me, and as an archer it's not going to be that much worse. People will freak out a little bit because they have to let the skeleton warriors get that close, but as long as they have some sort of crowd control as an archer, it's not going to do that much extra damage, right? Like, these guys don't hurt that much at all. But these do hurt when you're one level down from a feet pound more. Yeah, I'm going to have to potion, I think. Nope, I got it. But yeah, I don't really like the skeleton warriors on that specialization. I don't really like them in general. So, you know, I would say probably get rid of it for something else that's, you know, more damage dealing or something like that. They don't hurt that much though. And like I was saying before, if the archer has bear traps or caltrops or something like that, they can let them get close enough to them and still not take a hit, as long as they do it correctly, as long as they kite correctly and stuff like that. Oh, that was 3 globes. I wonder if it gives you more globes if you're lower level, because I've never seen one mob drop 3 globes. Alright, so I mean the archer here probably isn't ever going to hit their shots, but the cyclopses are kind of just good tanky units. You know, they do pretty decent damage. If you know how to interrupt their over-the-head slam like most knights do, they're not as bad. You know, using skills at the right time can interrupt their slams. Or just walking away. But either way, it still takes a reasonable amount of time to kill them. Like, if I was doing, even if I was trying to go as fast as I can, I probably wouldn't be able to get this castle done. But you can notice I'm just kind of going head-to-head with these skeleton warriors, which technically are a DPS unit, and it's not hurting me at all. So they're just not really in a good spot right now, just in general. I don't think their stats are quite high enough. Or maybe they're scaling something. It's just a little off with them, in my opinion. Alright, so that was a weird little hook that you had there. And then you have a Scorpio. Okay, so I kind of think I see what you were going for. Is I'm guessing the Scorpio is coming around the bend, and if I got pulled by this guy, the Scorpio launches his hooks and pulls me into another group. I like that, okay. And the Scorpio by itself is going to be a pain to deal with. Especially for me, because I'm a little lower level here. But we'll see what I can do. Actually, it's not that bad. Alright, so this isn't going that bad. I might even just start doing level 20 castles on my level 19 knight, if it's, in general, this like, doable, you know? I mean, I know I can do level 25 castles with my level 24 archer, but that's a little bit different, because my archer is actually just godlike gear. Alright. So the Zeke being defended, that's good. That was kind of weird. I think a better support unit probably for that. Like, even if I get pulled into there, the only thing you're really gaining out of it is this little bit of trap damage, which isn't all that much at this point. If it was a ballista trap, it would do a little bit more, but I'll let it hit me. I think it does about 60 to me, which isn't really, yeah, 60 per tick. It's not that much. So I would switch that out with either a healing puppeteer or an rager puppeteer. If you don't have dampeners yet, or I would say maybe that. A bad dog is good as well. Okay, so this is good, because you know people are going to hug that. But if I hide all the way in the back corner there, it's still okay. Alright, so I'm going to go after this guy. I'm going to have to heal again. Alright, and this is a good time waster, I would say. I would say it's not bad. It doesn't really do hardly any damage, but that's not a terrible thing. What do we have next? Okay, so Cyclops, 2 Cyclopses, and a healer. So again, kind of a time waster slash kill zone. You're probably not getting all that many kills with this dungeon. You should be really going for keeping people away from your treasure. With what I've noticed here is because there's just not enough burst damage to kill anyone until the potion nerf comes in. The only way you're really able to do that is with Stairmasters these days. Is you gotta hit either with a springboard trap into Stairmasters or just a Stairmaster pull in general, and you really kind of have to get lucky with it to get a good kill. Unless you have level 4 Jimbos, which tend to hit me for 2,800 damage on my archer and one-shot me, which I'm not happy about. But let's see, this one is pretty good. You basically force me into fighting this Defendatron, but then if I get pulled, he gets extra heals, right? So if I got pulled during that first pull, that's why I made it kind of a point to dodge it. Alright, and see if I can get that guy away from the ballista trap. I don't know why. I was trying to smite him, but it kind of went on to the other guy. I guess I spammed it after he had already been kicked away. So I think that's a fine group. What I would just suggest is that at the moment your castle is really tilted towards the time-wasting mechanic. And I'm not sure if that's what you're going for or not, but if you're noticing that you're not getting kills, it's because you don't really have any, like... It's hard to get kills in general right now. This patch is difficult for that. So going for this sort of time-waster mechanic isn't a bad thing. The only thing I would say is that maybe you'd have to go even more so into it to actually get a high enough rate of defending like that. You'd have to, like, even remove some Pete Poundmores and adding some Robo Shieldatrons or something like that. I mean, I haven't ever really made a purely defense castle like this. Mine's kind of like that as well, because I haven't been getting all that many kills either. You really just have to hope someone's under-geared in order to get a kill these days. Or have Stairmasters, which I do have a couple Stairmaster pulls. I think only one nowadays. And then pulls through the walls, which I think you had a couple, but maybe you could have had some more. So, I mean, you might be able to redesign some of your rooms where you're pulling creatures around through the walls and forcing people to fight two things at once if they go through it and stuff like that, which will make your castle a little bit better at keeping people out based on the time limit. So, yeah, I mean, that's the basic advice that I have, is just kind of watch through, make sure people are taking roughly a minute per room. You have to figure it out yourself, right? Per room, divide that by how much your timer is, and figure out how much people are taking in each room. You know, look at each room when you're going through a replay and see where your problem areas are, and see if you can just, like, boost the time limit up 15 seconds here, 5 seconds here, 10 seconds here, and then you realize that, you know, everyone's not really making it to your castle, through your castle in time. So with that, that's number 3. We're going to end the video here. If you guys enjoy what I do, please subscribe and leave a like. If you want to be a part of ViewerCasts, you can contact me by emailing me at frenzycastleruns@hotmail.com. You can comment on my castle, comment on one of the videos, leave your in-game name, summoner level, all that sort of thing, or you can add me and create a challenge if you have a really low-level castle and you want me to do it at a kind of a lower level. Yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.